In the beautiful world of the African Sahara, within the hidden eyes of Adamu, a prophecy resounded through the dry, sweltering air. The elder, dressed in a vibrant robe adorned with symbols of ancient lore, stood before a gathering of villagers. His voice, filled with a strange mixture of threat and hope, echoed off the mud brick homes. From the sun will rise a king, marked by the moon and favored by the sun. He will unite the scattered tribes and bring prosperity to our lands. But beware, for his path will be marked by trials and darkness that could devour his heart. Among the listeners was a young boy, Mensah, whose eyes sparkled with dreams bigger than the endless desert. His heart pounded with a strange rhythm, as if resonating with each word of the elder. That night, under the crescent moon, Mensah couldn't sleep. The wind whispered secrets to him, secrets that spoke of destiny and duty. Years passed, and the prophecy faded into the whispers of the old and the fantasies of the young. Mensah, now a man, worked alongside his father, tendering to their meager livestock. However, the words of the elder had rooted deep within him, sprouting a relentless desire to fulfill an unspoken promise. His first trial came unexpectedly. A terrible drought befell Adamu, threatening to wipe out their cattle, and with them, the village lifeline. Remembering the elder's words, Mensah led a daring expedition in search of the mystical Lake of Elders, a source of water said to be blessed by the gods. As the days dragged on, they encountered only sand and the scorching sun, no sign of water anywhere. Doubt and despair grew among his followers, and Mensah's determination wavered. On the brink of giving up, Mensah stumbled upon an ancient half-buried stone tablet in the desert sand, inscribed with forgotten runes. Translating it with the help of an old wise woman from the village who was versed in the old languages, Mensah learned of a lake once vast and vibrant, now buried under the centuries of sand, hidden by the desert that most people believe was just a myth. Amazed by this discovery, Mensah employed ancient techniques described on the stony tablet to locate the lake. Guided by the stars and the old ruins, he found the precise spot where the waters had been buried. Under his command, the villagers dug deep into the earth, uncovering not just the water, but a hidden ecosystem that had adopted to its subterranean refuge. The lake, shielded from the harsh desert environment, was teeming with life and resources. Mensah's discovery was more than just a source of water. It was a treasure trove of raw minerals and fertile land around it. His success was the first sign to the villagers that perhaps he was the one destined to live, unveiling not only the physical waters but the revealing depth of his courage and wisdom. The Lake of Elders was indeed blessed by the gods, and Mensah, bringing its bounty back to his people, had proven him a leader worthy of legends. With prosperity, however, came envy and greed. News of Adamu's newfound wealth spread, attracting the gaze of Akka, a ruthless warlord who sought to dominate the surrounding lands. His approach was heralded by a cloud of dust and a wave of terror. Akka had already terrorized the region, leaving a trail of destruction. Village after village fell under his control as he seized them with ruthless efficiency, pillaging resources and subjugating the people with harsh cruelty. His army, a mix of mercenaries and conscripted villagers, grew with each conquest, fueled by the promise of plunder. Mensah, whose leadership has now been solidified by his early successes, faced his grievous challenge yet. He had to protect his village without succumbing to the brutality that Akka represented. As Akka's forces waged relentless war, burning fields and poisoning wells, the people of Adamu were pushed to the brink. Their once fertile land was scarred by battle, and the air was thick with the smoke of their burning heritage. Preparing for the inevitable confrontation, Mensah forged alliances with neighboring villages, uniting them under a single banner for the first time in centuries. This coalition, though hastily formed, was bounded by a shared threat of annihilation under Akhe's tyranny. The night before the battle, Mensah struggled with the weight of his decisions. The prophecy's warning of darkness devouring his heart loomed over him. Could he lead his people to victory without losing himself? In the tense hours before the first light of dawn, Mensah sat huddled with his closest advisors around a flickering campfire, the chills of the night biting at their resolve. Despite the impending battle, Mensah's mind was clear, focused on a plan that might sway the odds in their favor. We can't match Akhe's forces in numbers, but we can outsmart them, Mensah began, his voice steady, carrying the weight of a leader who had seen too many hardships. He unrolled the tattered map, pointing to the narrow path in Kilbrook, the expected battlefield. Akhe will expect us to avoid the choke point, thinking it is a death trap, but that's exactly where we will strike. His strategy was daring. By seeming to avoid Kilbrook, Mensah would lure Akhe's forces into spreading out, thinning their lines. Meanwhile, a small elite unit led by Mensah himself would actually advance towards the pass in the dead of night. While they anticipate our movement elsewhere, we will seize control of the pass. Controlling Kilbrook will give us the leverage we need to dictate the battle's pace, Mensah explained. The plan required precision and silence. As the night deepened, Mensah's forces moved. Cloaked by darkness, they navigated the terrain, their movement a mere whisper against the wind. By dawn, they had positioned themselves unseen and unexpected at Kilbrook. As the sun crested the horizon, Akhe's forces realized their mistake. They scrambled to regroup, but the confusion was beyond control. Mensah seized the moment, initiating a swift, decisive strike. His forces, energized by the strategic upper hand, pushed forward with renewed vigor. The battle was fierce and unforgiving. Mensah and his newly found alliance fought valiantly, their spirits fueled by the desire for freedom and peace. Amidst the chaos, Mensah faced Akhe in a duel that seemed as much a clash of ideas as it was of steel. As his sword met Akhe's, Mensah recalled the elders' teachings. True strength comes from the heart, not the hand. With a defy movement driven by his belief in peace and unity, Mensah disarmed Akhe, choosing to spare his life. The act of mercy became the cornerstone of Mensah's legacy. With Akhe's defeat, Mensah's reputation grew. Tribes from far and wide pledged their allegiance to him, drawn not by fear but by respect. Under Mensah's reign, the region saw unprecedented peace and prosperity. Market thrived, children learned in schools, and wellsprings nourished the once barren lands. Mensah often sat under the ancient baobab tree, pondering the twist of fate. He had risen from a humble herdsman to a mighty king, just as prophesied. But it was not just the prophecy that made him. It was his choices, his sacrifices, and his undying hope that shaped the destiny of Adamu. As the sun set, painting the sky with hue of gold and orange, Mensah smiled, knowing that while the prophecy foretold his rise, it was the love and unity of his people that would sustain it. The mighty king had risen, not above his people, but among them, his heart forever rooted in the sand of his beloved hometown. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. This has been Bernard and you've been watching African Dream Motivation. Kindly subscribe for more.